A sudden, massive shift in the global economy is wiping out billions in market capitalization across the service sector. Notice the stark downward trajectory for major publicly traded providers like Teleperformance, T-Tech, and Concentrix recently. The market consensus driving this crash is straightforward. Investors believe that because generative AI automates routine tasks, it will directly reduce the demand for human agents. This table lists occupations most exposed to automation. Customer service representatives and data entry keyers sit at the top. Historically, automation reduces task costs, leading organizations to expand service scale and complexity. By focusing only on headcount reduction, the market overlooks this core economic mechanism. AI functions as a catalyst. It's exposing a structural flaw that's existed within the industry's legacy business model for decades. For decades, the business process outsourcing industry generated revenue through labor arbitrage, geographic cost savings, and raw operational scale. The mechanics rely almost entirely on the full-time equivalent, or FTE, pricing model. In this setup, revenue scales exclusively through headcount expansion. This graphic contrasts the legacy input-based model with a necessary future state. On the left, FTE revenue is tied to labor units, where automation erodes billable units. On the right, the value-driven model ties revenue to outcomes, allowing automation to expand provider margins. Without changing the underlying commercial architecture, the BPO industry will optimize itself into obsolescence by continually pricing for cost instead of value. BPOs influence high-value business outcomes, like customer retention and revenue recovery, yet they are paid based on low-value labor inputs. We can map this disconnect mathematically. Provider revenue equals a set rate multiplied by labor quantity. Since required labor equals desired output divided by productivity, we rewrite the equation. Look at the partial derivative. If output stays constant, higher productivity mathematically shrinks provider revenue. Deploy artificial intelligence into a legacy FTE contract, and this equation becomes a liability. As algorithms handle routine inquiries, the required human labor drops, evaporating the provider's billable hours. This chart visualizes the pricing-to-value asymmetry. At the inflection point, increasing productivity drives the blue client value line upward, while the gray contract price line continues to fall. As AI enablement scales, this gap widens exponentially. The provider's actual economic impact remains chronically undermonetized. This creates a toxic economic structure. Providers are actively and financially penalized for introducing technological efficiency. Because revenue is untethered from value, every legacy BPO contract exists in perpetual, unstable motion. The relationship oscillates between three states. Underpricing relation inevitably drags the relationship back to the same default behavior: headcount reduction and cost center optimization. If the FTE structure is this volatile, enterprise procurement teams should abandon it, yet they continue to mandate it. This is the client paradox. This diagram outlines the root cause. Look at the measurement gap and cognitive bias boxes at the bottom. It is incredibly easy to benchmark hourly rates. It is exceptionally difficult to measure downstream financial value, creating a convincing illusion of rational decision-making. The procurement system operates exactly as designed. It makes the wrong commercial decision feel analytically safe, strangling innovation in the process. Escaping this paradox requires proof. The BPO must establish a direct, causal link between an isolated customer interaction and a downstream financial result. This requires specific measurement infrastructure. Siloed operational call data must merge with the client's internal financial data, funneling into a central customer data platform. That engine yields two critical outputs: customer lifetime value and relationship quality. Relationship quality acts as a vital multiplier to CLV. By quantifying trust and customer effort, it serves as an early warning system for churn risk and a predictor of long-term loyalty. Jointly analyzing these metrics allow providers to dynamically segment customers. They can allocate automated systems for routine tasks and deploy human capital exactly where it yields the highest financial return. Mastering this data linkage transitions the BPO from a highly replaceable labor supplier into an irreplaceable orchestrator of enterprise value. Transitioning a multi-million-dollar contract requires a three-phase roadmap. Phase 1 keeps the FTE model intact to build CDP data linkages and prove value creation. Phases 2 and 3 introduce gain sharing, eventually eliminating headcount billing entirely in favor of outcome participation. This transition introduces a harsh reality, mapped here as the BPO financial J-curve. Notice the deep blue trough in the middle. This margin compression is the investment drag. AI reduces billable hours immediately, while CDP infrastructure demands heavy upfront capital before value-based revenue scale. The short-term financial pain of the J-curve explains exactly why the industry resists change, yet it is the unavoidable toll required to reach decoupled, exponential growth. This value stack details where the market is heading. At the bottom layers, raw execution and routine labor are the first to be commoditized. The actual economic premium is moving upward toward complex judgment, orchestration, and domain application. This presents a final dichotomy. The legacy model relies on growth through headcount. The new operational orchestration model, detailed on the right, relies on growth through value capture. Survival in the next decade demands abandoning the activity layer and staking a permanent commercial claim on the outcome layer. Right now, the very landscape of the entire global service economy is being physically reshaped by these powerful economic forces. Artificial intelligence provides the technical infrastructure for this transition, but it will not dictate the industry's ultimate fate. As Jens Voigt observes, artificial intelligence will not determine the future of the outsourcing industry. The industry's willingness to redesign its business model will. The final choice is entirely binary. Courageously endure the J-curve to redesign your commercial architecture, or the mathematically optimized into irrelevance.